To me, comics are a viable, valid medium. They weren't just for kids. I kind of grew up reading comics as a very young kid, but I also feel like comics sort of grew up with me as I was doing them. So what I defined as comics kind of changed because I was still doing them, and that's what sort of changed when I went to comics. When I actually got into the business, I realized that I had a lot of desires and interests based on my art school training that I wanted to put into comics, and yet to me, what was being done was very self-reflective and almost in a little bit incestuous, but a little bit it's also kind of self-cannibalizing. And so that if you got into comics by reading comics and tracing comics and doing stuff like that, I sort of felt like you end up copying mistakes, and I certainly did that like to no extent. I mean, like no end.
Yeah, well, let's talk about how people thought you were a Neil Adams artist.
Oh, they thought I was a clone of, like I had learned to draw from him, period. And that actually was the major tipping point for me in terms of trying and exploding, because I had done a lot of stuff in my sketchbook that was completely alien to that and antithetical in every way. And I kept saying, I felt like I was hiding my real identity, like a Clark Kent thing in my sketchbooks. So I had fashion illustrations and really much more abstract kind of things, collages, and everybody was saying that you can't do that. After the reviews came out about the whole Neil Adams clone thing, you could get depressed, and then I find that depression is anger turned inward. So I found that it was much more productive to be an angry kid, and I was an angry kid. I mean, back in those drinking days as well, it's like, so I just used that energy and that anger to just go, I'm going to do it. It's like I either was going to do it and succeed or fail on my own merits, or I was going to get out. And then it just the floodgates sort of opened, and I just said, screw it. The editors were really very, very open to me doing stuff. Luckily, it's like a plateau or a tabletop that if I have a certain number of people who follow me, and if some people drop off, like other people would climb on. So there would always be this sort of like base group of people. Yeah, and some people stayed on for the whole ride, and other people sort of jumped on during Moon Knight and left after Moon Knight, and some people jumped on during like Elektra Assassin, or some people came on during the New Mutants and sort of stayed on. And and it's the longer I've been doing this, that people say that if you hang around long enough, it's like then people will know. It's just like if they give you a benefit of doubt from tenacity and stubbornness in and of itself, that I'm just I'm not going to quit. Now I just I love it. I love the medium to death. I just don't like the business as much. But that's the nature of the game. It's always been that way.